Have you ever felt torn between family loyalty and your own personal boundaries? What would you do if someone you loved asked you to do something that completely went against your values? And not just once, but time and time again. Could you say no, even if it meant the potential collapse of your family dynamic? Now, imagine if that request wasn't just awkward, but it put your safety, sanity, and sense of self in jeopardy. This is the story of what happens when love becomes a manipulation and family ties start to feel like a noose tightening around your neck. My name is Emily, and I'm 30 years old, a flight attendant, and an aspiring author. My life has always been, well, normal. I grew up in a household with my identical twin sister, Stacy, and our dad after our mother tragically passed away during childbirth. Our father raised us with love and stability, even though he was constantly mourning the loss of the woman he'd loved for so long. The three of us made our own little world, one where the love was abundant, even if sometimes we felt incomplete without our mother. Stacy and I had always been different, though. Growing up, I was the bookworm, the introverted one who preferred quiet and solitude. Stacy, on the other hand, was always dreaming of family life. She was obsessed with wedding themes, baby names, and everything motherhood related. She always said that she wanted to be a mom more than anything in the world. While I never really felt that pull, I've always known that about her. Fast forward to the present. I'm in a relationship with Mike, and Stacy has been married to Jeff for 8 years. She had it all figured out in her mind: get married, have kids, and live the perfect suburban life. Only things didn't go as planned. For years, Stacy tried to get pregnant. I knew it wasn't easy for her, but she never seemed to give up. After one miscarriage, she threw herself into trying to conceive again, only to be met with failure time and time again. Thousands of dollars spent on IVF, countless rounds of medical procedures, and still nothing. Her dream of motherhood was slipping further out of her grasp, and she began to change. The woman who had always been so optimistic, so full of hope, now carried a deep sadness with her wherever she went. It was around this time that I noticed Jeff changing too. The man I'd once thought of as kind and supportive was now becoming increasingly desperate. It wasn't just about having a child for him anymore. It was about having one that carried both of their DNA. Their shared bloodline was a must. Stacy had never been open to adoption, and that was something Jeff could never accept. He couldn't fathom raising a child that didn't share their genetics. It was as though their entire world, their entire relationship, had come to a screeching halt because of this one thing. One day, out of the blue, Stacy came to me with a request. It was a day like any other. We were sitting on the couch, watching Modern Family and chatting when she turned to me with a serious expression. "Emily, I need to ask you something. It's been eating at me, and I need to know if you'll help me," she said, her voice shaky. I could tell something was wrong. This wasn't just a casual request. "Of course. What is it?" I asked, turning to face her. And then she dropped it. She wanted me to be her surrogate. My own twin sister wanted me to carry a child for her. I was frozen. My mind raced. My body went numb. Was she serious? She needed me, her identical twin, to carry her child for her? I had to ask her to clarify. What do you mean? Like, a surrogate? Me? Her face flushed with desperation. Yes, I need you to be my surrogate. I want a baby, and I want it to be our child, both Jeff's and mine. You're the only one who can help me. I knew I had to speak up. I couldn't pretend this wasn't a huge deal. I could feel the blood rushing to my ears as I tried to calm myself down, searching for the right words. I'm sorry, Stacy. I can't do that. I can't carry a child. You know I've never wanted kids. I've never been interested in being a mother. I can't go through that, but I'll donate my eggs. I'll give you all the eggs you need, but I can't be the one to carry it, I said, trying to make her understand. Her face turned crimson, and I could see the anger bubbling up. This is what I get. This is the support I get from my own sister? You're just going to leave me to figure this out on my own? She yelled, her voice shaking with hurt and fury. She stormed out of my house, leaving behind a broken picture of the two of us that had been sitting on my mantel. She hadn't even said goodbye. The days that followed were a blur of messages from Stacy. She sent me pictures of us as kids, reminders of our childhood dreams, and every single one of her vision boards. She pleaded with me to reconsider, telling me I was destroying her chance at having a family. It was all too much. Mike didn't know what to say. This was my sister, and he didn't want to come between us. But he made it clear that if I felt pressured into this, he wouldn't be able to support me. He didn't want to see me destroyed by guilt and manipulation. And yet, I couldn't help but feel guilty. Could I be wrong for not helping her? Was I being selfish for setting this boundary? But deep down, I knew I couldn't do it. I couldn't let her manipulate me into something I didn't want to do, no matter how much she pleaded. The situation grew worse with every passing day. Stacy's behavior became more erratic, her desperation more pronounced. And then Jeff started stalking me. I would notice cars following me. A red car one day, a black car the next. It was like I was being watched. My heart raced every time I stepped out of my house, constantly looking over my shoulder. And when I tried to talk to Stacy about it, she was in denial, defending Jeff's actions and blaming me for the rift between us. It wasn't until one evening that things escalated to a point I couldn't ignore. I was at a restaurant, enjoying a quiet brunch with friends when the waiter came to me with an emergency. I thought it was Mike, but when I reached the front, it was Jeff. He was standing there, looking at me with those pleading eyes. He apologized for calling me names, for everything. It was about control. It wasn't long before the situation escalated.